One particularly interesting application of this stuff is circular orbits and weightlessness, which will also be a nice transition towards our next section, which is on gravity. The force of gravity on a projectile is directed towards the center of the Earth. Sort of duh, but worth keeping in mind. Alright, if you're near the surface of the Earth looks kind of flat, and the force of gravity is directed vertically downward, which is always true. Downward is always the way that an object falls. It's always the direction of local gravity. But near the surface of the Earth, those lines seem to be parallel. Downward is the same direction. On the other hand, if you pull far enough away from the Earth that it's curved, then downward, which is always towards the center, might be in different directions for different objects. And so things get more complicated. This led to a thought experiment called Newton's cannon. Imagine a cannon on top of a really tall mountain, like ludicrously tall mountain. Fired at low speeds, like A or B, the cannonball is tracked to the Earth and hits it. So blomp, like we did, or maybe a little further away, so the Earth's curvature matters, but still hits it. But at a high enough speed, the trajectory will exactly match the curvature of the Earth, and so the ball will go all the way around and then hit the cannon itself. Whoops. It orbits. If you go even higher than that, the orbit will seem to be elliptical, but will still orbit. And strictly speaking, if you were able to continue the path of ball A, it would also have been elliptical, except that it hits the Earth. All right, it gets all weird. But if the Earth were point like here, we could get, a better ellipse, we would get an ellipse that is something like this. But that doesn't happen because the Earth gets in the way. And at a high enough speed, like E, it actually could escape and never come back. This is looks like a hyperbolic, maybe parabolic orbit. And it escapes entirely and never comes back. An orbit, then, is a closed trajectory of a projectile around a gravitationally significant object. I'll be honest, astronomers tend to be a little sloppy, so we'll talk about hyperbolic or parabolic orbits, but they're open. The object only comes once and never comes back again, so technically they wouldn't fit this definition, but we tend to include them as well. Right. A nice thing would be a circular orbit, and that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of the section here. The direction of gravity, of course, changes everywhere on this orbit. It's always towards the center. The key thing is that things in orbit are in free fall during the entire time. It's only the Earth's gravity that's keeping the satellite going around. Thus, the force of gravity provides the centripetal acceleration. That would allow us to do things like figure out if there was something which were orbiting just above the surface of the Earth, whose radius is 6.4 times 10 to the 6 meters, assuming it didn't hit any mountains or anything that it could go around, but it was in orbit, so it was being pulled by the Earth. Find its orbital speed. Well, we would use the fact that g is providing the centripetal acceleration. And so v squared over re, the radius of the Earth, would have to equal the 9.8 that we're used to. We can solve that over then and say, well, then the orbital speed must be square root of GRE. And so we can say, with our little calculations, that we get about 7,920 meters per second for something which is orbiting around the Earth. It's about 18,000 miles per hour. This would be if it were orbiting only due to the Earth's gravity and at the height of the Earth, on the surface of the Earth. You might recall we had found this speed earlier as the speed at the equator for an object that was the Earth about to spin apart. That's because we're doing the same thing, which is that gravity is providing the entire centripetal acceleration. All right, astronauts at the International Space Station are weightless because of which of these? That there's no gravity in space, or that the net force on them is zero, or the centrifugal force balances the gravitational force, or that g is very small, although not zero, or that they're in free fall. And we know that our answer is they're in free fall. Right? They're falling towards the Earth at the same speed as the International Space Station, so everything in their field of reference is falling the same way, and so they don't seem to be falling at all. It is certainly not true that there's no gravity. The force of gravity actually has an infinite range, so there's always gravity somewhere. The net force is not zero because they're going around a circle, so we know they have an acceleration, which is towards the center of the Earth. We're not going to use centrifugal force, so we'll leave that one out. And then this one is not a terrible, terrible answer, right? G is, we know that maybe that the Earth's gravity falls off as you go far away, and so they look weightless just because the force of gravity is so small. And we're going to explore that one next. One orbit of the International Space Station takes 92.68 minutes and is at a height of 409 kilometers. What is the acceleration due to the Earth's gravity at that height? Let's see if gravity has fallen off, and we'll answer in meters per second square. Some things to keep in mind that are useful to know. The radius of the Earth is 6.4 times 10 to the 6 meters, and the ISS is 409 kilometers further out, meaning if this is the Earth, this bit is that number, and then the space station is this number further out. So the total radius is the sum. Right? The orbit it actually tracks out is not the size of the Earth, but a circle that is 409 kilometers further out. You can find the orbital speed using the circumference of the orbit and the time it takes to execute one orbit. And remember, the ISS is in free fall, so the Earth's gravity is just what's providing centripetal acceleration. Give this a go, and then we'll go to the next slide. Here we'll just compute the orbital radius, which turns out to be 6.81 times 10 to the 6 meters. And we can compute the orbital speed by using 2 pi r over t, 1 circumference, divided by the time it takes, so that's the circumference, and the time is 92.68 minutes and 60 seconds per minute. So something like that. And we get this as our orbital speed. And then the acceleration is just v squared over r, so we take this thing squared and divide by this, and we get 8.68 meters per second squared. That's still 88% of the strength on the Earth. So gravity has fallen off a bit, but it's very far from zero. It's still far from negligible. It is the free fall that's making astronauts appear weightless, not the fact that gravity has decreased in strength.